Recently, Disney's been doing a lot of live action remakes of some of their classic animated titles. But I think everyone can agree that we want Disney to make their own original ideas. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. If Disney's going to continue to make live action versions of their animated films, I decided we should get together and talk about what films they should be making. So, my number 5 is Atlantis the Lost Empire. This movie was a complete bomb for Disney. It's easily one of their worst movies, in my opinion. It's just a snore fest, and it could have been really fascinating, but it just wasn't handled that well. It was through a really rough creative dry patch after the Renaissance era, and I think this would be benefit very much from a live action remake. I think who they should get to helm this is Taika Waititi, the man who brought Thor Ragnarok. Why? Because I think he has such a distinct voice and style that would work for Atlantis. The biggest problem with Atlantis is that it's slow and it's boring, and I think Taika Waititi could bring his personality to it that'd be really witty and really fun. And I mean, he handled science fiction elements so well in Thor Ragnarok; it just looked amazing. So I think that'd be absolutely a steal idea. My number 4 is The Black Cauldron, which is Disney's biggest bomb of all time. It was beat out by the Care Bears movie on its opening weekend, so Disney has tried to put as much space away from The Black Cauldron as they possibly could. But I think if you did a Black Cauldron remake with Guillermo del Toro, who recently did The Shape of Water, it could be really great. There's a lot of gothic horror elements to Black Cauldron, which is very much not in the vein of typical Disney, and I think Del Toro can nail that tone, especially since Del Toro's been working recently with Disney to bring a live-action Haunted Mansion movie around. Maybe he could work with them again and make a Black Cauldron movie as well. Hopefully that would work better. And my number 3 is actually another Rescuers movie. There's been 2 Rescuers movies. I know that the first one has a lot of love. I'm not a huge fan of it. But I do love the second one, and I think it's really underappreciated. I think a live-action third Rescuers movie could be really interesting. The director I was thinking about this for is Alfonso Cuarón, and maybe this is because I just recently watched Roma and loved it, but this guy has such an eye when it comes to cinematography and vision, and I think he would have such an interesting voice when it came to these mice and their point of view crawling around these areas. I think his specific shots would work so well to show the vastness of the world of the Rescuers, and seeing that in live action I think would actually really benefit. I think it'd be a really interesting idea. My number 2 is Treasure Planet, another movie that didn't do quite well. It was in the same period of Atlantis. It is definitely better received than Atlantis is, and it is a little bit better. I still don't love it, but I know this has a huge cult following of people. But yeah, it underperformed as well for Disney. They've kind of forgotten about it. But with the rise of things like Guardians of the Galaxy and even the cult following show for Firefly, there's definitely this space opera bounty hunter feel that's just in right now. And Treasure Planet is going and pushing all of those buttons. I think the perfect director for this would actually be Brad Bird. Of course, Brad Bird is a friend of Disney. He's done a lot of stuff for them. But we can even tell recently with his flop that I actually really like, Tomorrowland, he is definitely liking all those type of science fiction elements, and I think he could really hone that in with the Treasure Planet project. I think he could bring all of that feel into that movie and maybe make it an even tighter script. So I think that would be really good for them. I think the number 1 live-action Disney remake that could work and be really great for them is The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And I think they could actually end up making this one. This film has a massive cult following now, and a lot of people are gravitating towards it and loving it. I think it's a good movie. I think it has its issues, especially the gargoyles. But I think if they made a full-on PG-13 live-action remake of The Hunchback of Notre Dame and did something very kind of more dark and edgy than the typical Disney movie, you could have something that was really breathtaking here, something that would really catch people off guard. I think the person perfect to direct this would be Damien Chazelle. I know that he's done 3 movies, Whiplash, La La Land, and First Man, but I think he has such a fine-tuned spirit when it comes to music and integrating it into story, and I think that's exactly what Hunchback of Notre Dame needs. Not only that, he's got scale. With First Man and La La Land, you can feel the vastness and the largeness of those movies. And I feel like that's exactly what The Hunchback of Notre Dame needs. I think this would be just a great thing for Disney. I think this would be talked about forever if they did that. Those are 5 movies I think should be discussed when talking about Disney live action remakes. I also want to see Disney do more original things, but if they're going to go on the remake train, they might as well take some risks.